Hello everyone, I'm Grandmaster Justin Ichikawa from the Teal-Wesley Karate Studio, and here's today's Martial Arts Monday tip. We're going to be discussing the samurai sword. There are many different kinds of swords in the martial arts. This particular one is just a performance sword that we're going to be using. It's pretty balanced and it's very light. It's easier to do these particular tricks we're going to do with a lighter sword. You can do it with a heavier sword, just you got to be extremely careful and extremely strong with your body so you can control the weapon. Above all, the most important thing before you use a weapon is make sure you know 100% how to control the weapon. Okay? So what I'm going to do today is we're going to do actually a toss, which is an advanced move. And so you want to kind of, every single time you do a toss, you want to kind of understand your muscle memory. You want to learn it, you want to know it, you want to know every single toss you do is going to comfortably land in the other hand. You're going to know exactly where it is, so eventually you can do it blindfolded. Alright, so the idea behind this particular toss that we're going to do is we're going to go in front of us. It's going to go from 6 o'clock to 12 o'clock and I'm going to release, okay? So when you do tosses, you have to make sure that you don't do too much wrist flick. If you flick the wrist too much, the weapon's just going to spin uncontrollably and you're never going to be able to control it. It might end up poking a hole in your mat, in your foot, in anything that you don't want, okay? So you got to make sure that when you do this, you always start a toss gently. You always just nice and smooth, nice and fluid, okay? So the idea behind this toss, when you do the toss, it's going to start blade away. So my blade is away from me here. It's going to go from one side of me to the other side of me, and once I get to pretty much directly to the left of me, I'm going to release it. So I go from one side, I'm going to release right on the way up. And I'm not going to, my hand's not going to follow it all the way up, okay? Once it gets there, I'm just going to let go. In the beginning, like I said, you're going to start slow. So I recommend as you go here, I'm starting nice and slow and then I release. So what the sword is going to do, once I release it, it's going to go all the way in a complete circle. Where I release it, it's going to end in the same spot. I'm going to catch it with my other hand, okay? So I'm throwing it with my right and I'm catching it with my left. So I want to release it to the left of me right here, and it's going to end in the same spot. That is my goal. My ultimate goal is to have the handle of the sword land completely where I want it to be, right here in front of me. So as I go, I'm going to release, I'm going to be spotting the handle of the sword the entire time. If I do not spot the handle of the sword and I'm just hoping that I catch it, I'm going to end up freaking myself out and probably dropping it or hitting myself, and it's going to be no good for me. So I want to make sure as I do this, I eye the handle of the sword and I catch it every single time. So I'm winding up to the right, I'm going to release it, spot it, and I'm going to catch it comfortably. So notice that the sword, when I released it, it almost ended at the exact same spot that I started. Okay, so I release it off to the side, I toss, and I catch all the way off to the side. Okay, that's my goal of the toss. So that toss is a little bit more complicated. It's involving transitioning, throwing from one side to the other side, one hand to the other hand, and it's also going into 360. I feel it's a good toss to start with because just tossing it from one hand to the other, it's kind of like in a cheesy martial arts movie, tossing it from hand to hand. It's not as involved, it doesn't look as complex, and it doesn't look like you know what you're doing too much. So this toss is probably one of the best intermediate to advanced tosses you can do, just flipping it over and finding that spot. So what I can do is I can cut to one side, cut around, cut down, and as I do that cut down, I can toss it to the other hand, and I have a transition, I can cut across to the other side, okay? And then I redraw my sword. So I feel that is probably the best first toss that you want to start with, and it's a good way to practice. If you have possibly a shinai or a wooden sword in your school, you can practice it with that, or you can even practice it with the handle of your sword. I wouldn't recommend starting this toss practicing with a metal or steel or aluminum sword, just in case you drop it in the mat or on your foot, on your brother or sister or something like that. You just want to be very careful with how you practice tossing the sword. Thank you so much for watching this Monday martial arts tip. Please tune in every Monday on our website at tealwesleykarate.com in our blog section. We'll be posting videos every Monday, so make sure you tune in. If you have any comments or concerns or questions about any video that I've shown, I'll leave a link below to send a direct text to me. Also, if you have anything that you want to see, you could also send that text to me also. If you want to see some weapon work, some sparring drills, some kicks or block or hand techniques, I'll be more than happy to show that to you. You could also follow this link below to follow us at Facebook and also to follow us on Instagram. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next Monday. Tongsu!